it's Stephen and Jen from Iowa Backyard Farmer, and today we're going to be talking about cherry tomatoes.
So we've grown almost 40 different varieties just this year alone in our backyard. And if you've ever wondered what they look like, how they perform, how they
grow.
Yeah, really how they grow, because we've got some that are big and take over the world, some that are pretty small.
Some that are very productive.
Absolutely. And so let's take a look and see what they look like in our garden today.
Yeah, we're going to pick some to test later, and we'll see.
Yep. Very good. Turn this around.
So the first one we have is one that I really don't usually plant. This is yellow pear. We just got it at the store. There are not a lot of cherry options at the store. This one is not as far ahead. It's just barely starting to think about blooming. We'll check on that one later.
But usually it's a pretty big, very productive plant.
Yes, very productive, not very tasty. Okay, spoon tomato here. This was a free packet of seeds. You may have seen in our other video. It has these tiny little clusters of flowers. It's extremely productive. It's going to take over the world. What is your opinion?
Last year when we grew it, it was very tasty, but it did kind of take over the garden. And so very branchy. If you look just across here, there's a ton of branches just 4 feet tall here.
Yeah,
and we're at July 1st. And so this has probably got another 6 or 8 feet to grow.
We'll see how long it lasts. Okay, so Goldrush Currant is our next one, and you can see it's kind of had some damage on the branches on this walkway. It's almost ready to pick. Again, it's a very small fruit. If you come up here to the top, you can see that it is just totally loaded with blossoms. This is, again, those currant tomatoes tend to be very productive. They're very small, they're very sweet. They self-seed, so be careful with it. If you come around on this side for the white currant, you can see that it is also very productive. It's a very vigorous grower, and there's fruit. We'll pick this fruit if I can get to it.
So I'd probably go to the other side to pick that one.
Somebody setting this up didn't make a plan for production. Okay. And it says to pick the whole bunch when you pick them, because again, that's a self-seeding type of plant. And so here's one little bunch, and we'll taste that later.
And I'm going to reach down and pick one more.
And one more just to eat. It's so good.
We'll do the taste later, but it's pretty good.
I'll save at least one to taste test later. So that's white currant. This next one is Candyland Red Currant, and it is supposed to have a tidier habit than the other currant tomatoes, and it does. You can see that it's well branched. It's totally loaded with fruit, but it's not as scraggly looking as some of the other currant tomatoes.
The other ones are already above the top of the cage. These are not above the top of the cage. A little bit taller cage, I guess.
I was going to say, that's a little taller cage.
But they're very productive, but the inner nodes and stuff suggest that this one's not going to get near as tall, and I know the description said it's a much tidier growth habit, which would be much appreciated.
Yeah, but we have picked fruit off of this for days now. It's very productive, and they're very sweet. I can't remember what the bricks is on this, but it was like 16 or
like 12.
12.
It was amongst the highest of the bricks, and we should pull out our bricks little meter and test that
and test that, yeah.
But already fairly productive.
And we don't want. So again, here's a little sample of the fruit.
Yep.
Okay, let's move to the next one.
Next one up, and we're just going down in order that we planted them.
So I'm excited about this. I love the Cream of the Crop series. Cream of the Crop is developed by, I'm not gonna
remember his name since you're asking me spur of the moment.
Spur of the moment.
We do have several of the Cream of the Crop series. I've been very pleased with the disease resistance that this breeder has put in, and the flavor and productivity. And so this is I think it's the first year this one's been released, and so really excited to try this one as well.
It looks fantastic. I've been watching it, waiting for it to ripen. You can see that they're, compared to the currant tomatoes, we're going to be going up.
So it is a fairly, it's a nice size grape type of tomato. It's not as big as Juliet, but Juliet's more of a little
it
Roma
looks like
type.
it's bigger. I think it's bigger than our regular Romas. So we're just going to pick those off.
I think we're going to do multiple types of or tries of taste testing. So let's just take everything that looks ripe. Going to go visit some family this week, and so take advantage of the opportunity to see what everybody else thinks.
Yeah. Another one. Is this Brad Gates?
What is this one?
This is Purple Zebra.
Purple Zebra. I'd have to check. So not quite as ripe, but we do have a little.
Yeah. So I'm going to pick it anyway.
Those in here.
This is even bigger than the last one, but I'm going to pick it just so I can show you the shape of it. It's got that beaky end on it. It's got those fun stripes. It'll ripen on the counter just fine. You don't have to let them ripen on the plant. Just has to sit for a couple days. But look how fun that is. Almost ripe.
I heard good things about this one, so we will we'll give it a try and see what we think. Next one up is Lizzano, and this is one that we were trialing. I've heard amazing things about it. It is a much smaller plant structure. My original thought when we brought this one in is maybe it could replace Patio Choice Red, which is a fantastic variety. But we can see it's fairly loaded.
And it's only, I'm going to say 2-3 feet tall.
Yeah, so it's pretty small. It would work very well in a container.
And it was totally loaded with fruit. My youngest cannot resist picking the cherry tomatoes. And yesterday she came in, she's like, I picked a bunch of tomatoes. And I was like, no, we were going to make a video. They were all off this plant. So imagine this with way more fruit on it, and you will get the idea, because you can see this amazing fruit set all over. And it just has been pumping out cherry tomatoes for us.
Very good.
I'm going to pick some. Picked? Yeah, I'm going to pick a couple here.
Okay, while you're picking that one, we'll move over to the next one, which is Sweet Million. And Sweet Million was one that we brought in thinking maybe we can replace Super Sweet 100, which is our top-selling tomato variety, but it gets really big. And thought, well, let's see if we can find one that tastes just as good, is just as productive, but maybe a little bit shorter plant structure.
And you can see this is kind of the fruit set that it's setting on here, which is going to be enormous.
And I don't know that it's going to be any smaller plant structure, but it is certainly loaded with fruit.
But it's got a lot of fruit on it. And again, my kids have been out here picking tomatoes, but here's a sample size.
It's a pretty standard
size cherry tomato.
Okay. So moving on to the next one, which I'm really excited about. But in terms of whether or not it's going to be a smaller plant structure, I think it's taller than me out here, and I'm 6 foot, and it is going to be really exciting, but not necessarily a smaller plant. But this is Sunpeach, and Sunpeach we brought in had fantastic reviews. Talked with several market gardeners who say this is their favorite variety to grow,
and it's very productive. It's a little bit bigger than that Sweet Million that we just looked at, and it's pink. So we have red tomatoes and we have pink tomatoes. They might look the same to you on the video, but if you put them side by side, you'll notice that this has a more pink tone to it, and the flavor of the pink tomatoes is
generally sweeter. I am a sucker for pink tomatoes. Kind of laugh because a lot of people say, well, you can't have a pink tomato, you only can buy a red tomato. You're missing out.
You're missing out, yeah. This one, I snuck one of these earlier. Taste spoiler. They're fantastic.
Really good. Next one up is Sakura. And Sakura is another one that we brought in with the intention of trying to replace Super Sweet 100 with a plant maybe not quite as aggressive, not quite as big.
And look at the fruit on this thing.
It certainly is loaded with fruit. Remains to be seen if it's going to be a smaller plant or not. My guess is probably not.
Yeah, and I don't know. See, I'll pick some fruit down here. You can sort of get a sense of the size of the fruit. And it's just barely getting going, and we're going to have a lot of these.
Yeah.
Let me find another one.
Grab another one up here for you. Next one up. See, we've got Sunrise Bumblebee, and this is one we have grown for years. It has always been a delicious one, very pretty one. plant structure wise, for right now, this one is not near as tall.
This one goes to Sakura. This actually is Sakura coming over here. Sunrise Bumblebee is only up to here, so it's a whole foot shorter than the other ones, or 2 feet in some cases.
Yeah. So if you want to come around and pick.
Let me see if I can get
that one.
A couple here. I love the stripes. I love the color on these. Here's another one. They're beautiful tomatoes.
Yeah, beautiful, and they've been very tasty. I'm curious how they will compare to Tropical Sunset, which is also a kind of a tangerine orange stripy type.
Oh, like we got another set. And this is, you're noticing these are coming on early. Most of these we planted about the same time. So there's another whole set of fruit.
Okay, looks like fun. We want to step back behind and get our one extra small plant that's not in the row.
Can you come through here? We kind of had to tie up tomato parts.
Yeah, did you bring a bag for this one?
I'll grab one later.
Okay. So this one is the 42-day tomato, which is a free seed packet, right?
Yeah, it just came. We order so many seeds. We get all sorts of free seed packets. I decided to try them.
So not...
It's a little bit bigger. It's kind of like the size of Mountain Magic, and it's way earlier, and it's very, very productive. Sad news on this one is that main stem broke under the weight this morning, and so
we'll see. There's still enough connected. It may continue to grow, but just a determinate tomato does not get very big, but bushes out fairly well and is very productive.
And very early.
Probably why it's called the 42-day tomato.
Yeah, that probably would make sense.
So the next one in our line here is the Rosella Cherry. And Rosella Cherry was one that was recommended when we did our video earlier this year on tomato varieties that we were growing. And we thought, well,
quick get seeds, we'll try it.
Let's give it a try. And my very first impression is it is very productive. It is already...
Yeah, this is taller than me.
Already over 6 foot tall. Has a lot of flowers on it. We've got some fruit.
Here's a good fruit set if you can get a video of it down here.
Pull in down here.
Or come in to see.
Yeah, I can see the fruit set on that. So really looking forward to trying that one. It is it an heirloom type?
I think so.
It's an older one.
It's at least open pollinated.
I
don't know how old it is.
It is not quite as early to mature as some of the others that we've got here.
Well, I planted this one later too.
Ah.
Because
so you planted it later and it's already the tallest one of the group. It's going to be a big plant.
Well, Sunpeach is way up there too. Right.
Okay.
So
next one up. What do we have down here?
This is Black Cherry.
They are Black Cherry.
And this has typically been one of the flavor winners for you. It's not as sweet as some of our other ones, but you've got that really nice flavor back there. Can you see the fruit? We've already had several off of this one.
Yeah, we've picked several, tasted.
Let me pick a couple. They're nice. They're slightly larger. You've got that brick red kind of black color. Delicious.
Yeah, very good flavor. I really like them for one of the black types. Next one up here is Blush.
Yeah, well, and I love the shape on this one.
So Blush is one that we've grown in the past. It is a very good flavor, kind of a sweet flavor.
Yeah, it's not tangy really. It's kind of mild.
And
let me see if I can pull some out here.
My only concern that we've ever had for this one is if you get a 5-inch rainfall, they split.
Yeah.
But a lot of tomatoes split when you get a 5-inch rainfall.
So that's about the size and color of Blush. And it's been really productive and early too. We've had lots off this one, and there's more on the back here.
More on the back if you can reach those. And Blush is a shorter indeterminate variety. It will get to the top of our cage here pretty easily, but unlike some of the others, which are shooting past the top of the cage.
There's another set of fruit on there. Looking good.
It'll be much more moderate in height. So next one up here is Black Strawberry. And Black Strawberry, I guess we have a couple that are getting close to ripen. They're close enough that we can pick.
Yeah, we'll pick them. They, like I said, they ripen inside just fine. I think there's one back here that's That's good. Look at that. Oh, you can see a little size variety in there.
Little variation there in size. But it's one that you've been a fan of for the flavor.
Yeah, I like this one. This has kind of like, it's got a sweet and tangy, and then it's got maybe even a little plum or grape flavor in it. It's a little more complex than some of your just straight cherries.
And when I did the blind taste test, just without the video last week, with my eyes closed, I said, that tastes like a purple or black one. And you said,
yep. Yep, you got it. You got it.
Honey Delight has been one of our favorites for a lot of years. It's kind of a cocktail-sized tomato.
And this one we've had a lot off already too, which is nice because it's kind of a bigger tomato. Pick a couple and show you.
Typically one of our first to ripen and be ready to eat any given year. This year we had many that came on about the same time, but this is certainly still amongst the...
it's on the earlier crab.
On the earlier side of things.
That's about the size and color of these.
Yep, very delicious. Fairly mild. Some have a little spark to their flavor of fruitiness. This one's just nice and sweet and fairly mild.
Yeah.
Next one up. I already see some black tops of these. So this one would be Midnight Snack.
Yeah, and this one is supposed to have crazy high anthocyanins.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of our high antho varieties. And I'd say it's one of the first ones that actually has some decent flavor to it. There's a little bitterness generally associated with high anthocyanin varieties, but this one's not so bad. And a lot of people really enjoy it.
Well, and the colors are really pretty. So you get, because you get the calyx of the top there colors it, and so you get like a little star shape where the was, and I like it. So
plant-wise, it's fairly average. It doesn't get overly aggressive compared to some of the others, but it's not a small plant by any means either. Next cherry type we have up is Sunsugar. Very popular, very delicious. People absolutely love the flavor.
So if you like Sun Gold, this is going to taste really similar without the problems of splitting, and it's just nice and orange, and it was my favorite of the last ones that we taste tested.
And it was probably tied for my favorite when we did our last little trial at home.
It's really sweet.
Much smaller than some of the others.
But bigger than the currants.
But bigger than the currants,
bigger
that's
than
true.
The currants.
Okay, put those in the bag and we'll move on to the next one. Which, seeing the sign here, looks like Napa Grape, which is another beautiful grape plant that we've had for a lot of years. It's been amongst the sweetest of the grapes that we have.
Well, and sometimes they have really thick skins. This Napa Grape doesn't have a really thick skin.
Doesn't have really thick skin. It is a more aggressive plant.
Every year I keep thinking, maybe if I give it more light, or maybe if I did something, it wouldn't have these huge long internodes. But even in the full sunshine, it just wants to be tall.
Yep.
It just wants to be tall. But there's some great fruit on there, and it's going to be very productive and very delicious.
And almost a whole truss is ripe. I'll pick the ones that have turned a little bit. So I can get all those with one handful without dropping them.
Without dropping the camera. That's pretty good talent. So these aren't all ripe. This one's closest, but they'll ripen inside.
They'll be ripe by tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay. Next one up is Ruby Crush, and Ruby Crush was our overall trial winner last year for a grape tomato. It produced all season long, but it is one that only gets about 3 to 4 feet tall. So if you want a nice grape that is very productive,
yeah, you're the same.
But
here's
doesn't
Ruby
get too
Crush,
tall.
And already way over it is the Napa Grape. But it didn't short me on fruit. It was huge production.
It held its size really well last year, which was something impressive when we're harvesting clear into October. The size of them just held really, really well. And flavor was good. They didn't have a problem with splitting, but the skins were not too thick.
Yeah.
Typically, if you have
There it
varieties
went.
that they say it doesn't split, it's because it has really thick skin.
skins.
This one's a newer one. Seeds are pretty expensive on this one, but really, really pleased with how it performed last year. I'll grab a couple and put it in your hand. But you know, a lot of trellises like this.
There you go.
Okay, so there's a better shot of the size of them. So really beautiful sized grape. It is a little bit bigger than Napa Grape, but smaller than like the Juliet.
Yeah, the Juliet's huge.
And what's this one? I don't know that we've got a sign on this one right here.
Okay, so
one of our determinants, obviously.
I had put my yellow Patio Choice stacker on that, and you can see that that is not yellow, that is red. And so I think I swapped my red and yellow Patio Choice when I planted them, because this one's red, and this one's a nice compact determinate. We've had a ton of fruit off this one too already, so I get a different bag.
And the next one up is another Patio Choice. I believe this is the yellow one, but we don't have anything that's ripe on it yet. So another one that's really good for a container. It does get a little big compared to the red Patio Choice, but if you like a yellow,
we got a ton of fruit off that one.
It was very productive, produced well clear to the very end of the season.
Yeah, I ended up making like cherry salsa and everything I think of between the Ruby Crush and the yellow Patio Choice last year. Yep. It's like, who needs a cherry tomato?
And the last one in this row is Husky Cherry, which is
it's a compact indeterminate or dwarf indeterminate.
Something like that. So it will not get anywhere near as tall as those that go all over the world.
Yeah, so the Napa Grape with the internodes that are like 8 inches long, you can see the internodes on this are really close
short,
together.
So it likes to stay a fairly small plant.
But because it's indeterminate, it's going to keep growing and keep growing, unlike the 42-day tomato, which is going to be like, that was great, I'm done.
Okay. Well,
look at that. Nice cherries.
We got one more in there I'll pick if I can reach it. Or maybe 2 more. July 1st, and we're almost overrun again with little cherry tomatoes.
Yeah, if you're counting and you're looking up, this is lots of pounds of cherry tomatoes that we'll be picking probably next week.
Yeah. Okay, so
let's go back over here to Brad's Atomic Grape.
Brad's Atomic right here. That's kind of a grape type of tomato, kind of shaped like the blush tomato, kind of a bullet shape, I guess I would call it.
And they're way bigger. They're way bigger. So let me pick one so you can see it.
So these are not quite
ripe,
but they're ripe enough to pick and
ripen inside.
Ripen on the counter. Okay.
Got a lot of cool colors and
it's another moderate sized plant. It similar to some of the others where you'll get it, 3, 4, maybe 5 feet tall, but not grow to like 10 feet tall that some of the others want to do.
Yeah, and that one had a spider on it, but I don't know if you can see the colors on that. It's really kind of fun. And the flavor on this one is totally different.
Yeah. People either absolutely love it or they absolutely hate it. Okay.
Well, you want to cover your other ones? We don't have any fruit on them yet, but this one is...
Tell us about Green Envy.
So I just picked this one up at the store when I was there because I was like, oh, we don't have a green cherry tomato. And so we're going to try this one. This one's called Green Envy, and it's planted a little bit later like the Rosella. So we don't have any ripe ones yet, but
it's hard to tell at this point how big the plant is going to get. It looks like most of the flower clusters have about 5 flowers on them.
Or more.
Or more.
I mean, that's way more than 5 one.
That's true. There's about 10 on that one.
Yeah, there's 10 on that one. Okay.
And what's next?
Well, Super Sweet 100 over here, and there might even be a ripe one. These aren't plants that we grew ourselves from seed because we lost so many with the herbicide drift. But we bought one at the store, and it's your super standard classic cherry tomato. If you're thinking cherry tomato should taste like this, that's what it tastes like.
That's the one, yeah. And we sell a bazillion of those. And right now it's cute and harmless. I already see it is in the back trying to escape the cage. But it does get really big. And that's really the only complaint we've ever gotten is it can kind of take over, but productive and delicious.
And then Sun Dipper, this was another one I just saw at the store, and I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. It's not going to be a standard cherry shape. It's going to be like a elongated but not smooth and bullet shaped like a blush. It's going to have like a little handle, so you could dip it in on your little vegetable tray. It'll be orange, sort of like the Sun Gold.
And Tami Grape, what do we know about this one? It's another one we bought at the store just because it was one
it
we
was
did
the only
not have in
grape
a trial
that they had at the store, and I was like, we'll try it. We've got Grape Tomatoes, and this one is from the store, so it's a little behind, but it'll catch up.
Okay. I'll wander past our paprika pepper trial. Let's see what we have over here.
This is Sparky XSL, and it is really wonderful. It's very disease resistant. The fruit lasts a long time, and the flavor is really pretty good. It's haven't got ripe fruit on it yet, and again, it's going to be pretty tall.
Going to be a pretty tall one. Okay, moving on over to
Mountain Magic. And I love the Magic series, or the Mountain series, because it has really good disease resistance. It does really well, and it's got good fruit set, it's got good productivity, and it's got some really pretty good flavor. I pair these with Honey Delight for a really similar size tomato. They're pretty good.
So nice cocktail size. And sometimes they're called Campari tomatoes. So
yep.
If you've seen those in the store,
that's about the size
good chance
and flavor they're going to be. Okay.
Next one up is Tropical Sunset. And Tropical Sunset is one that we brought in, I think it was last year, and we've been very pleased with it. It is also either a very large cherry or a small cocktail type.
All right, and I love this one. In the greenhouse, when we're growing things, this is a beast. It comes out really healthy and strong. The flavor is really good. I love the color. And we've had a ton off of this one already.
And been pretty disease resistant. And very sweet. With this is one I'd say has a little bit of a spark with it.
Yeah, it's got some really good flavor.
Honey Delight, which is sweet but not quite the spark, just more mild. Okay, and is this one over here our last one?
Except for the pots.
Okay, so there's always more. Always more.
There is always more.
What do we have here? Next one Juliet. Up is Juliet. Juliet is a classic one that's been around for a long time, and people that love it, and if people ask for it every single year. Has pretty good flavor, pretty good disease resistance.
It tastes like a really nice little aroma. Yeah. It's juicier. It's not dry. It's not dry and mealy on the inside, but it has more of a tomato flavor than just a cherry flavor for me.
Yeah, but it's plant structure wise, it will get pretty big. It's already up, pushing 6 foot tall here on July 1st, and it will keep on growing and keep on producing.
But it's really good. We made like little salsas with it already, and I was like, hey, I don't have a Roma tomato, but I've got these, and we made a little pico for our breakfast burritos. It's awesome.
Okay, where are we heading to next?
We're gonna go into the main garden. I've got 2 tomato hanging pots left, and we'll pick those. These again are super productive, and my youngest comes out every day and picks off anything that's ripe. So there's not a lot on here today. Just know that they were delicious yesterday. So this is just Tumbler Hybrid, and it's just a nice red cherry. It's shorter, stays in a pot mostly.
And so we didn't sell this variety in a pot this year. It does kind of...
it's a little bit bigger.
A little bigger plant, but it hangs down nicely.
And then this is Tumbling Tom Red, and you can see that this has slightly smaller leaves. It's more bunchy. It's going to stay together better in a pot. It has some had some problems already. It's hard life to live in a pot, and not everybody remembers to water my pots. So it struggles a little bit more just because it hasn't had excellent care, but it has grown really well, and we have had a lot of tomatoes off of this thing for a month.
It seems to hang on really well. I don't.
Yeah, they don't split.
Here, can you pick the last one? Then
Yep.
we'll do a picture with that one there too.
Okay. There's a nice cherry tomato. It is a little thicker skin, but again, it's in a pot being watered by my kids, and it's a hard life. We have 2 more in the dwarf tomato category. I don't know if you want to look at those.
Okay, let's
Real
go
fast.
over and take a look at those.
They're going to be over there with the dwarf tomatoes.
Okay, so tell me which ones you're thinking of.
Okay, so this is Dwarf Eagle Smiley, and you can see this is a tiny little plant, and it's starting to set fruit. They're going to be cherries on this one. They're not quite rare. I can pick them. They're not blushing yet, but that should be fun.
So we just planted these.
Yeah, it's like last week or so. And then I had this one in a pot, and then I planted it in the ground because I know that we don't take care of our pots quite as well. But this is Little Birdy Red Robin, and it is, I don't know, a micro dwarf. It's very small, very compact, totally loaded with fruit. You can see it's almost as much fruit as it is leaves. And it's going to be a nice little red cherry. I'll pick that one. It's not ripe, but...
Yeah, let's see your hand again. So I didn't do a final count, but that's pretty close to 40 cherry tomato varieties that we are growing this year. What do you think?
I'll line them all up. We'll put a picture in. Maybe even tell you how they tasted. But
so are we going to do a taste test on top of this one?
Yeah, we'll do a taste test and let you know which ones our favorite are and what they look like on the inside in the next video.
Yep. And you in the comments, please post what your favorite cherry tomato is. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and feel free to share it with other friends who like cherry tomatoes as well. Very good. Thanks.
Talk to you later.
Yep. Bye-bye.